Mewgenics, a game created by Ed McMillan and is also the creator of Binding of Isaac, has released a new developmental update for his game. It is going over how death mechanics work in the game and what to expect when playing. How long are you going to be able to hold on to one of your cats? What happens when they do die? What can you do to progress your character or your cat's genetics onto its offspring? Now, we get pretty much all the answers that you could ask about what entails death in this update. The biggest ones is, do cats die permanently? This is a question that I had because we do have the OST of Kitty Bones, making me think that you might be able to resurrect one of them and use them again later. That might still be a thing that exists, but it's definitely not brought up in here, because in here he says that yes, your cats will die. Likely everyone will know, and like everyone you know and will ever meet, your cats eventually die. Now, he doesn't say that they die permanently, because that was the question here. That means that Kitty Bones things still could exist. However, what does the death entail? Why does death happen? He goes over the kind of life cycle of what the cats experience, what your characters or what your cat and your colony and party will experience when they go on an adventure, which is kind of a point A to point B. It is a one-time thing that your cats can do, and I think it's rather interesting. So we're going to start off with a cat. He goes, April. It's born. It's ready for adventure. Now, when it was in one of the areas in one of the zones of the adventure that it goes on, it is now downed because it got attacked by a group of kittens and went down to 0 HP. What is downed? Down is a minor injury that is to a random body part of the cat, and it creates a permanent negative debuff to one of their stats, and is also visually shown, as you can see in this GIF. It has nothing on it, and then once it gets hit, it has the X over its face and like cut and stitch down its mouth. Now, it also goes over to show some of the choice things, and I'm not entirely sure why this thing GIF specifically here is put. I think it's just trying to show that it has like the bandages over it because it's recovering and trying to heal from that damage that it was taken, or that injury that it received. But this, I do want them to go into more of what these random events are, but that'll probably be another update. So when the cat is down, and it's going to be down for the remainder of the match until the match ends, and it'll be brought back up, unless you have a cleric that has the ability to resurrect, or some act, it says, of a god revives them. So when they're down, they're out for the match. Now, there is another mechanic called death armor that exists when your cat is down, which means that in a match, when your cat goes down, it is possible for your cat to die during that round, even if you succeed on that mission through your adventure. It has death armor, so if the cats attack this one 3 times, that's it. It's gone. There is no other redemption that can be received from them. They are now out of your party for the rest of the adventure. However, he does go into details that it's pretty unlikely that cats will attack downed cats already to get rid of them. They will likely move on to another enemy, but to be warned that you can't just like throw off any spells now that one of your allies is down, because if you hit them, if you push them into an object that can do damage or throw them into a river, they can still take damage from that death armor and lose enough death armor to permanently die. If all of the cats are downed in a level, it's game over for those cats. The adventure is over. None of them come back. Cats that do come back are considered old. So that means that only one cat or only a cat can go on one adventure, because once they come back and they're old, there's a time like ticking in the background for when those cats do eventually die from old age. They will come back changed. Obviously, they went on a big adventure. They probably have been downed. They have found items that change their appearance, and apparently they can pick up other passives that may stay with them long term that are negative to breeding, like mental illnesses do come up apparently. So what do you do when the cat comes back and it's old and it can't go on another adventure? Well, that means that it's time to breed new cats. These new cats, he goes over, when 2 new cats mate, a level 0 colorless ability, let's say a fighter or a colorless, so let's say 1 male and 1 female, join, they both have different things. That offspring will either grab one of the 2 things that they have, or have a small chance to grab some other colorless active. Now, if it's not level 0 and they are higher level, what are the things that can happen? Well, a higher level one's gonna have way more actives. It's going to have way more passives, and those actives and passives are going to be more likely to pass on to those offsprings. So they give an example that if you have a tank, one that breeds, and you birth a mage, that mage might have the possibility to have toss, which means that technically that new cat is now multiclassed, which is another way to end up mixing skills. They talked about in the last one how Tutor Plus, especially Tutor Plus, can teach certain spells to other cats permanently. Now it looks like with those stats and from even just other classes, when they breed, even though it's not the same class, they might be able to grab an ability from another class. So there's going to be a lot of mix and matching that's going to go on when you do the breeding, and particularly, cats that have gone on adventures have the options and the more things available to them to pass on, which is where like the really mewgenic part of the game, the genetics part of the game, really comes into effect of making very strong cats. Now they say it's not all positives, right? If you have a cat that goes on an adventure and gains all these passives and all these actives and all these really cool abilities, and it comes back, it's not only those positive things that it has gained, not these cool passives and actives. It's also very possible for it to come with other problems, such as physical or mental disorders, or parasites, or even curses that could potentially harm your family for generations, is what he says. And that means that, whatever bad things they happen, whatever good things they happen, either of those two things can now be passed on to the next generation, and could be really good or really bad. But he says that even though you can inherit mental illnesses from the previous generations through breeding through the game, that's not necessarily always a bad thing. There's a silver lining to every bad side or bad effect that you can pick up. Probably most of these are considered passives. Maybe they come with minuses in other areas and pluses in others to stats or something of the like. And he says that's what we'll be covering in the next update. So I'm kind of excited because I imagine that this is going to be going more into passives and actives, and not all passives and actives are, positive ones, or it's an entirely different mechanic that is also going to be added into those, which would be really cool. I'm starting to see, the little things come together, the little randomness that's going to be into the game that's really going to create either those game-breaking combos we were talking about in the last video, or absolute dogshit ones. Because it seems like while there may be silver linings, I'm sure some of them don't always weigh in positively, especially the generational curses. That one seems pretty bad. But anyways, I thought this was a really good update. We should be getting the next one pretty soon here. He's been doing it about every 2 weeks, so this has been about 2 weeks since he has posted this, or is getting very close to being 2 weeks. So when the next one comes out, I can't wait to dive into the things that exist in this. Anyways, no new OST on this one either. I hope that we get another, Kitty Bones or the rat one. I really like those, but maybe in the next update. I will see you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Bye.